Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Brought to you by Junk Be Gone and the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Balls are back. Yeah. Well, we'll be taking the ball out of everybody we play, Sam. Thank you very much.
Not exactly the way everybody thought yesterday was going to go. We have to have a little fun here on the show. Bad day for the Volunteers as Kentucky makes the drive south and leaves with their first victory since 1984. Their biggest victory over the Vols since 1935. If you're 86 years old, you've seen this before. Amazing the way Kentucky beat Tennessee yesterday. Amazing the way Tennessee self-destructed. We'll break it all down for you over the next 90 minutes, and it's going to be kind of a big picture look at the program. I was saving this for next week with what I anticipated at the time to be an Alabama beatdown. We've moved it up a week. There's been a lot of talk about how this program is being rebuilt. Today, we're going to ask for proof of that. Let's get into this show. First segment is brought to you by our friends at Junk Be Gone. Hopefully, UT called these guys yesterday and had them clear the field after that junk performance. I use Junk Be Gone, and you should too. They'll come haul away junk, furniture, trash, whatever you need, taken away from your home or office. Junk Be Gone is the team to call. Really good folks out there. Mike Such and his family have built a terrific family-owned, East Tennessee, locally owned business. Junk Be Gone. All right, got some good guys here in the first wave of our panel. Second wave of the panel, decent guys, but these are really good guys. We got here former VFL. Somebody caught me last week. I said former VFL. What does that mean? I don't know. So you're still a VFL, Will Overstreet. Right there from WNML, we have Jimmy Himes, and right down there, our man about town, Chuck Cavaleris. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. I want to start with a very simple question. Again, this is kind of going to be the theme for this show, but for this first segment, is this program, if you're looking at the gear shifter, is it in forward? Is it in neutral? Is it in reverse?
That assumes you're on the road, John. So
wow. You're in the ditch.
You're in a ditch. You got 4 flat tires and no gas right now after that performance. I mean, you just look at what was coming into this season. You thought you'd be competitive against some of the top teams this year. You've now seen what Georgia does to you. You've now seen what Kentucky does to you. And let's not take a break from it because, yes, your quarterback performed very badly, but your defensive line running in between the tackles got beat. There are sections throughout this team. This is not a complete on the quarterback. It's a huge part, but there are other areas that you're starting to see cracks in and problems in. That's why I say it's all 4 tires are flat. It's not just one. You've got issues throughout this organization right now that you've got to look at and go, how do we get more competitive and fix this? And I don't know if it's a mentality that we've now kind of gone back to that losing and expect to lose, and that's why the defense may fall apart in the fourth quarter in the sense of they look at the offense and go, oh, they can't do anything. But you've got to fix something because they're becoming less competitive in each and every game as that game goes on.
Okay. Jimmy, forward, neutral, reverse, where's this program?
It's in reverse. I mean, when Tennessee had won 8 in a row, so there was a but in there, and the but from some people was, but they haven't beaten a ranked team in that 8-game stretch. Yet I still thought they were going in the right direction, finding a way to win, doing the things that you had to do. But the problem right now is it's so glaring. You're not good enough at quarterback right now, and now you got your head football coach questioning the team's effort at times, questioning some of the play calling at times, questioning whether the players prepare properly. And these are mostly his guys right now on the team, right? So, no, they're going in reverse right now, or as Will's alluding to, maybe they're not even on the road at this point. But I'm very surprised at this. You couldn't quite totally write off Georgia because you wanted to be competitive against a top 10 team, right? But when Kentucky handles you like that and you're gifting them a couple of touchdowns on pick sixes, I think this program and this team's in trouble.
Chuck, I would go neutral. I wouldn't go reverse yet. So to me, I went into this season thinking 5-5. I thought they'd lose to Carolina. They beat Carolina barely. Okay, now you lose to Kentucky. This team, I just thought they would be very similar to what you had last year because of who the quarterback was. And I'm not going to buy into an offensive line at Tennessee until they come out and show me in my face. So to me, I would just say it's kind of in neutral. Where are you? Neutral, reverse, like these guys?
Well, I mean,
off
if
the
you look
road?
at the last 6 quarters and you've been outscored 57-7, what gear you think you're in? I mean, to me, it's reverse. You might have found first gear at South Carolina, Missouri. Yeah, you put it in second gear.
But I'm talking Pruitt's. Okay,
Well,
for year 3, this program is in reverse because of 2 weeks. And that's okay.
No,
I'm not
I mean,
debating
it's
you. I'm
what you
just
see.
clarifying.
I mean, to me, the most troubling thing about yesterday, even when you're down 17-7, you've got a possession at the end of the first half you can do something with. The last possession of the first half, the first possession of the second half tells me where this football team is. And that's not good enough. And no, I mean, I think you're in reverse because you're losing because of some of the same reasons and the way you're playing. Your coach said you did not play with the effort and toughness that is required at Tennessee. That's not in neutral. That's in reverse.
He also said that they need more guys like Henry To'o who sit in there and watch film till 1 a.m. and that kind of thing. Right. At some point, what he's talking about are culture things. Mm-hmm. It's year 3. You know, there was all that talk of get rid of that loser culture of Butch Jones. And I think a theme of today's show, a little bit of this is going to be there's been so much praise heaped on Pruitt. I think a lot of it was just the hatred for Butch Jones made everyone look at this guy and go, yeah, he's much better. And I'm not so sure I see the proof of that. But especially when you're talking about culture things like he's mentioned. We'll talk about quarterback later and who should start against Alabama, but I want to talk about the line. We know the pass blocking hasn't been great, especially in the tackle positions, but there are issues on that line all the way around. Let's take a look at this graphic if we could. In terms of improved offensive line, you see the yards per rush attempt. You're at 3.5. Okay, that's not going to set any SEC records there. And your opponents are actually at 3.6. So that's not dominating the line of scrimmage. And if you look from last year, Tennessee actually had a better yards per attempt last year than they do this year. Now, granted, you played 4 SEC defenses. I get that. But in terms of that turning the corner with the offensive line, I haven't seen it. And you look yesterday, there was one dominant drive. Overall, 41, 175, 4.3 yards average. That's pretty good. They had that one drive where they're in it 10 straight times, 12 runs overall, 71 yards, average 6 yards a carry. Take that one drive out of it, they average 3.6 yards per carry. I'm just not blown away by the offensive line when, in comparison, in the second half yesterday, Kentucky averaged 3.6 yards before contact on rushing plays. They're blowing holes. They're pushing you around. They don't have 4 or 5 stars on their offensive line. You do, and I'm not seeing it. So the line of scrimmage is really the most surprising thing to me. I didn't expect a night and day TVA thing, but I did expect some growth.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we're seeing it on the offensive line. Now, I know there are offensive linemen in town who debate that. I've had VFLs tell me, no, don't put it on the line. I've had others say, man, we suck. So I know those guys are everywhere. As a defensive lineman, are you seeing the improvement you expected along the line of scrimmage?
No, because it's not as consistently dominant where you should be. I mean, you have problems at tackle, like I've talked about, especially in pass rush, but you're not seeing that inside also at times dominate like it should. You know, it's getting stuffed there. Or, you know, one of the most frustrating things in that game was you saw dominance at one point in time on one side and somebody forgets and lets a guy through, right? He makes a play easy. So it's just not consistently up front working together. What Kentucky did yesterday in their zone blocking is one guy passed off to another guy and he put his rear in the hole and pushed that guy out. And these two worked together really well. It was the entire front working in unison, moving those holes. Our offensive line at times is, hey, we're doing really good over here. Oh, we're going to forget about this guy and let him in the backfield. It's not working together like it needs to be doing, and that's where you see the issues there.
Well, and one thing, the pass blocking is so bad, it makes the run blocking look good. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, guys running free and all that, and when we've talked about how many times we've heard the offensive line and all of the 5 stars and all of this, and then it's just not working on the field. And we know, Jimmy, that was the unit, and you've talked about it. A lot of people have talked. It was hit hardest by COVID. So maybe you give them a little bit of a break. But I've had people say other teams been dealing with the same thing.
I don't know if they've been dealing with the same thing on the offensive line. I can't answer that. I do think the run blocking is better than it was a year ago. They've improved. Are they at a 5-star level? No. But I think the biggest issue is the pass protection. The biggest issue to me is the tackles, as Will talked about at pass protection. I don't know how you correct that. I don't think they have offensive tackles that are really good at pass protection. And so that's a big part of your offensive line. Now, take out Georgia, which I don't know if you should. Well, you can't really do that. But other than that, I thought the second half of South Carolina against Missouri, and I thought against Kentucky, they ran the ball decently, and I thought the offensive line did a pretty good job blocking. Their pass protection at tackle, though, to me, would get a failing grade.
And to me, the problem is when you know what your quarterback is, and you do. You said, how many times we said it on your radio show on Friday going into games, you want him to be a game manager at most. Throw 20 passes, nothing more. When you need that, then you need to be able to do what you did against Missouri, which is 50 rushes. I only saw that against Missouri. So I think that they don't just need a decent run game. They need a dominant run game, and I don't think they have that. We're going to talk about the quarterback situation a little later in the show. We're going to show you the grades for the offensive linemen from Pro Football Focus, give you another idea of run blocking versus pass blocking, their talents there. But up next, we're going to talk about who should start at quarterback against Alabama, and we'll also talk about trouble brewing on the offensive coaching staff. Come on back on the Sports Source.